So a little while back, I did the first figure from the Void wave. It was Vision. And I said it's the only one I'm going to get because I wasn't really interested in a lot of the other figures to build the Void. I'm going to just try to find the pieces and maybe buy them on eBay or something to build a figure. But that being said, I do actually have Sentry and I just have never opened it. So it seemed like a good time. All I did was when I bought the figure, I took it out and just made sure it wasn't like a swap or anything. And it wasn't. There is the Sentry. He's in a really silly pose. And should have an alternate head. And a couple of hands. So there's that alternate head. I mean, that is awesome. That is really cool. I wonder if this head would fit on the Build-A-Figure Void body. I'm sure someone's done that. I don't have the body though. All I have is like one of the... Oh, you know what? You know what's funny? All I have is the head. I wonder if the Build-A-Figure Void head would fit on the Sentry body. I don't know. Some cool stuff you could do there. But definitely wanted Sentry in my collection. Now this is interesting. So he is filled with these ugly pins, but since his suit is all yellow, it's okay, I guess. Can't really tell. Pins in the arms, pins in the legs. It's kind of weird when you get a figure that has the pins nowadays because they've been doing such a good job at not doing that. But the first thing I noticed was, let's pop the head off here. The first thing I noticed was the cape. So I really don't like the Marvel Legends capes because they're so stiff and just chunks of plastic. They don't move well, so you can't really get the figure in cool poses. A lot of times I have to use a stand because the cape is so heavy they fall back, you know, unless you have them like leaning forward unnaturally. So, but the first thing I noticed is the cape is actually a sculpted piece. It goes all the way around to the front, so that's interesting. It's not a piece that just sits on there like we normally get. So you can pop the other head on there, and that is definitely the way I'll display it for now. I mean, that's just so cool. Get some Ghost Rider vibes going on. But, I mean, what can you really say about the figure? It's just a yellow suit with some purple. But that's the way the Sentry looks. So, what more could they really have done? This was, I think it was a Walgreens exclusive, which I hate. I was able to find it finally, but it took me a while. That's a really good head sculpt as well. It's just, there's so much hair and it's so stiff, you're not going to be able to move it at all. It's definitely going to be on my shelf with this head just because it gives him a unique look, like he's on fire, you know, becoming the Void or whatever. So, yeah, I've got a ton of Avengers figures that this guy will look next to. He could go on like a Dark Avengers shelf. He could go on a flight stand. I've got all kinds of different flight stands that I'll use. So let me grab a few figures and we'll just see how he looks standing next to these guys. All right, so starting off with the first Avenger, Captain America. This is my favorite cap in my collection, and I have a lot of them, and they're all different, unique in different ways. I just really like this one. It might be time to display him with the shield pegged to his back, because that's just a really cool feature that I haven't utilized at all. He's usually in this pose with either the electric that he comes with or the bullets. Explosive effects. Let's see if I can get this guy on camera. This is the Hulk. You can see how much more massive the Hulk is. Man, I'll have to pretty much leave him right here. He's so big he won't even fit on the frame. In the frame. Someone who will definitely fit in the frame for sure is going to be Hawkeye. I really like this Hawkeye figure. This is the one that came with the Sky Cycle. I don't have that Sky Cycle displayed. It's just, It's a little weird. It's not really my thing. I can also throw in Thor. That's definitely my favorite Thor figure in the collection. I always prefer Thor to have a beard. So this is what I'm talking about with the cape, though. I mean, Thor can't do much. I have him almost where he's kind of like leaning forward. Otherwise, the cape always drags him backwards. So you could grab Iron Man, you could grab Black Widow, you could grab so many figures off the shelf, put next to these guys. But this is already looking like a pretty sweet team. So he's got trigger fingers, which is interesting. I'll just keep him with the fists. So many villains. I can grab just a few villains just to kind of show off, since he's sort of a, you know, a villain slash hero at certain points. So let's grab a few and see how he looks. All right, so of course, Avengers-centric character, you gotta throw in Thanos. Hopefully you guys have this Thanos in your collection. It is an absolute must-have. Absolutely must have this guy. So I don't know how readily available he is anymore, but man, I've really, really loved opening this guy up way before I started this channel and everything. Put Thanos back there. We'll throw in an X-Men villain. I just grabbed this one just because Thanos is so old. I figured I would do a newer character. We've got Sabretooth. So one of the newest characters I've unboxed, and absolutely love this figure. You can see Thanos and Sabretooth are both quite a bit larger. But also, so we got Avengers, X-Men, you know, we got to do Spider-Man. So we'll throw in a Spider-Man villain. It is the Lizard, the Walmart exclusive Lizard that I went to every store near me hunting down this guy. Finally did find one. So there's the Lizard. So speaking of Spider-Man, usually when I think of the Sentry, I'm thinking of the new Avengers, where they break him out of prison, where he takes Carnage up into the air, right, and destroys him in space. Very cool. If you haven't read The New Avengers by Bendis, highly recommend it. It's really fun. Speaking of Carnage and Spider-Man, another character that has a really cool transformation style head sculpt is this Venom. I love the halfway transforming into the symbiote. Let's see if I can get him right there. So all these figures look really cool. We're gonna have to push them off to the side because I got a big boy coming in here. So we've got Sentry, we've got Venom in his transformation. Yeah, hopefully you guys are able to read the King in Black, because we got Null. And whenever the Sentry came to stop Null, and then Null just did to the Sentry what the Sentry did to Carnage, it was just such a crazy moment. It's so cool. So definitely go read The King in Black. It's one of the coolest moments, just kind of setting up how much of a badass Null is. And yeah, so many cool moments involving the Sentry. I definitely had to have this guy on the shelf. So hopefully you guys were able to pick it up. I'm sure you can find it for not too much over if you weren't able to get him at Walgreens or wherever he was from. I think it's Walgreens. But hey, thanks for watching, guys. See ya on the next one.